In the wink of an eye, everything was over.
Right now at 8, continued coverage from Dodge County, seeing some of the heaviest damage from Thursday's severe weather. We'll take you to a family farm that's cleaning up.
And I'll be tracking much cooler temperatures going forward. All the details coming up.
Plus, a Madison woman realizes she has a connection to the newly elected Pope. We'll share her story. And then later, we've got a preview and what you need to know ahead of tomorrow's screenings of the Wisconsin 40-hour film project. This is Weekend Mornings, and we thank you for joining us here on this Saturday morning. I'm Kyle Pazorski. Let's get straight to the first warn forecast, and Jacob Montesano joins us with that. Hi, Jacob.
Hey, Kyle. Temperatures this weekend, they are definitely going to be cooler. We can kind of see that already. Upper 40s to lower 50s aren't too far off what we normally see during the morning. But let's compare that to 24 hours ago, up near 15 to 20 degrees colder than this time yesterday. And in general, throughout the day, we'll see temperatures about 15 to 20 degrees colder than that given time yesterday, and about 30 degrees cooler compared to 2 days ago, where we had high temperatures in the upper 80s. Now, as we take a look at the wind speeds, this is a big reason for that. The winds out of the west-northwest, which is kind of pushing in some of that cooler air. Wind speeds up near 25 miles per hour for some locations, and these are just the sustained winds. The gusts are even stronger. Now, as we take a look at the cloud cover forecast, we're seeing some light sprinkles right now, but for the most part, we're not going to see rain, but we're going to see a lot of clouds today. Maybe a few peaks of sunshine, especially later in the day, but otherwise, expect mostly cloudy skies, some breezy conditions, and temperatures definitely on the chillier side, especially compared to the last couple of days. Highs will barely reach 60. Sustained winds will be up around 15 miles per hour. So overall, not ideal conditions, but, all things considered, not too bad when compared to, the winter time, but obviously it is pretty easily below normal today, and it's going to remain below normal moving forward. So I'll talk more about that coming up in just a little bit.
I, for one, will take 50s over a sweltering heat any day, Jacob.
Yeah, honestly, the 50s and the wind, maybe not, but tomorrow's forecast, which I'll talk about a bit later, I'll definitely take over the upper 80s we saw Thursday. It was a little too hot for me.
Yeah, that's for sure. All right, Jacob, we'll check back in just a bit. Now on to our top stories. Cleanup efforts continued Friday in Dodge County, with the National Weather Service now confirming that 4 tornadoes touched down there. Some of the worst damage was seen near Juneau. The owners of Schwant Family Farm share that what happened Thursday was the loss of a lifetime.
Thankful that we're alive, because we really should not have been alive. Trust me, it was so bad.
It's hard to talk, let's put it that way. This is a nightmare.
Now, as cleanup efforts continue around Juneau, the Schwant family says they are thankful for the friends, family, and even strangers who made their way up their driveway to lend a helping hand. The American Cross is offering shelter for those in the area who are impacted by the severe weather. Here in Madison, a sailboat capsized on Lake Monona last night. The Madison Fire Department says they received a 911 call with the lake rescue team launching from Olin Park. The team was able to rescue 2 people. Another was able to get to the shore on their own. At this time, there is no information on the conditions of the people involved. The Milwaukee County judge charged with helping a man illegally evade immigration agents is now seeking donations to fund her court defense. Judge Hannah Dugan's attorneys say the case against her is an unprecedented attack on the independent judiciary. Dugan has hired a group of high-powered lawyers led by a former U.S. attorney. Now, this all coming after dozens demonstrated outside the federal courthouse in Milwaukee this week, demanding she be set free. President Trump is back in the United States after his first foreign trip of this administration to the Middle East, but lawmakers here in the States are putting the brakes on some of his key tax and budget proposals. CBS's Bradley Blackburn is tracking the latest.
President Trump arrived back at the White House late Friday after a 4-day trip to the Middle East.
Hello, everybody.
Earlier on board Air Force One, as he told reporters about his new grandchild.
I have a nice grandchild waiting, which I'll see soon.
The president also confirmed his administration has given Iran a proposed nuclear deal.
They have a proposal, but more importantly, they know they have to move quickly. Something bad's going to happen.
Meanwhile, in Washington, Congress handed the Trump administration's tax and budget bill a setback, with 5 Republicans joining Democrats to stall it in committee.
No. Mr. Roy, no.
The president calls the 1,100-page bill the One Big Beautiful Bill Act. It would extend income tax cuts approved during Trump's first term and institute no taxes on tips and overtime pay. It would also boost spending for defense and border security by hundreds of billions of dollars. But some Republican holdouts want even steeper cuts to government spending and faster reforms to Medicaid.
We are writing checks we cannot cash.
We got a math problem, pure and simple.
Democrats say the bill would be damaging.
It makes healthcare more costly, food more inaccessible, and college more expensive. And all of this is to give tax breaks to their billionaire buddies like Elon Musk.
Negotiations will continue this weekend with another committee vote planned on Sunday. Bradley Blackburn, CBS News, New York.
Additionally, the package does seek to cover some costs by slashing more than $1 trillion from healthcare and food assistance programs. Now, that would happen over the course of a decade. President Trump has urged Republicans to stay united behind it to get it passed. In our weekly check on Wall Street, stocks are showing strength and now approaching the all-time highs that were set just a few months ago. The S&P closing out its third winning week in the last 4, while the other major indexes are showing positive signs as well. And here are the numbers. The Dow up 332 points, the Nasdaq jumps 99, and the S&P 500 adds 41.5. Keeping cool could cost a lot more this summer. A new analysis finds Americans can on average expect to shell out a record $784 to cool their homes from June through September. This is up more than 4% from the same period last year and 14% higher than in 2020. The National Energy Assistance Directors Association cites 2 reasons for the higher cost. The first is that electricity prices are rising faster than inflation. And the second reason is there's another hot summer expected this year. The group says more than 21 million Americans, or about 1 in 6, are behind on their energy bills. Now to some more local news. A Madison woman has recently discovered she shares a unique connection with the newly elected Pope. Reporter Arman Rahman has more on that connection and what the new pontiff did here in the Midwest before he was elected Holy Father.
What's in a name? For years, Sabrina Gentile didn't think much of this one until one day this May.
When the new pope was announced and they said he was an Augustinian from Chicago, I'm like, oh my God, that's probably who's on the recognition from my parents.
Sabrina's parents, Robert and Rosalie, were members of the Holy Rosary Parish in Kenosha. Her mom was church secretary for 37 years.
They did leave Holy Rosary in 2002, and when they did, they named my parents Augustinian affiliates, which is the highest honor you can give to a layperson.
And sure enough, at the bottom of that plaque, the signature of Father Robert Prevost, now Holy Father, Pope Leo XIV.
He was the provincial at that time, so his leadership roles kept him in Chicago, and he would come to special events.
Is that a thing you're kind of bragging to all your friends now? I actually have the signature of the Pope.
I did right away.
Sabrina says her parents dedicated their lives to being Augustinian, quite literally. Her father passed just months ago following her mother.
He had inscribed on their headstone Augustinian affiliates. That's how proud they were of that title. He is celebrating with my mom too, so that's good.
She says now they would have been even prouder to have crossed paths with the first American pontiff. Now when she sees him,
I look forward to watching his first Mass this weekend.
She'll see the special connection between the names Rosalie and Robert Gentile and Robert Prevost.
I can't even believe how excited they would have been. And I wish I could have that conversation with them just so they could talk about the specific times that they met him.
Reporting in Madison, Arman Rahman, News 3 Now.
And Armand, thank you. Sabrina further says the plaque used to hang at her parents' house, but before he died, her father wanted it to go back to Holy Rosary in Kenosha. Staying local, a 6th grader from Madison is heading to the nation's capital. Nico Sayu from Wright Middle School will be joining 11 other youth leaders from around the country to participate in Mikva Challenge's Soapbox Nation. This event serves as a platform for young leaders to speak about matters most important to them. Nico's speech is said to be focused on raising the nation's minimum wage.
I actually learned quite a lot about just like minimum wage and U.S. economy and stuff, which something I didn't really know that much about because I'm 11. But yeah, I had a fun time writing.
Soapbox Nation is set to take place tomorrow, and Nico will give his speech at the Martin Luther King Jr. Library. About 10 past the hour now is still ahead. The Health Watch with how a broken heart can cause serious health problems. But first, Jacob is back tracking out your weekend forecast. That's straight ahead here on Weekend Mornings.
Good morning, everybody. Here's a look at the 3 things you need to know. We are going to see cooler temperatures this weekend, and in general, they're going to be cool moving forward with a good chance of rain coming on Tuesday. And with that rain, we'll see especially below normal temperatures on specifically on Tuesday. Now, a big reason for the cooler temperatures today is that northwesterly wind. It's going to remain breezy throughout the entire day. Gusts will be around 25 to 30 miles per hour. It will get better later in the evening and overnight, but we're still going to see some cooler temperatures for your Sunday. So as we look at the highs for today, right around 60 for much of the area, mostly cloudy skies, 50s further north in the central and northern portion of Wisconsin. A few peaks of sunshine, but otherwise expect a lot of clouds today. But for Sunday, will be a little bit better. Temperatures relatively similar, a little bit warmer though, middle to lower 60s. And we also will see a bit more sunshine and less wind. So overall, tomorrow will be the better of the 2 days this weekend. Now, as we take a look at the high temperature trend going forward, the temperatures are going to dip even further for Monday and Tuesday. Tuesday especially, we may only see high temperatures near 50, maybe even upper 40s for a few locations with that rainfall. But then we are going to see those temperatures warm back up, but we may not see the 70s return until this time next week. And the lower 70s, as you can see, that's the normal high for this time of the year. Now let's take a look at that rainfall forecast. We could see some light sprinkles this morning, but for the most part, we're not going to see any precipitation over the weekend. Cloudy today, sunny tomorrow, and then as we get towards Monday, those clouds will move back into the area. Could see some isolated showers and storms, especially southwest of Madison during the day on Monday. Small chance of severe weather in Iowa, but unlikely that will make its way to our area due to the cool temperatures. And then Monday night into Tuesday, we'll see more consistent rain move into our area. And how far north this line of rain goes will really determine which areas see a lot of precipitation, because it looks like there will be a pretty sharp decline in the amount of rain from south to north, depending on how far this line of rain goes. So you folks in Eau Claire may not see a lot of rain with the system, but southern Wisconsin is expected to see a lot of rain, potentially up over an inch. Now, this will mainly be for Tuesday and into Tuesday night, clearing out for the most part Wednesday morning. Still could see some light precipitation, but it will be dry by the time we get to the end of next work week. And in general, it will be pretty dry after that with some light rain by the end of the 10-day forecast. But the big story will be those temperatures. Again, the average high is supposed to be in the lower 70s, and we're not going to get there until potentially Friday or Saturday of next week. And Tuesday specifically, we may only see high temperatures in the upper 40s to lower 50s. Some nights we also may see some frost form. Looks like the most likely night would be Sunday night. So just be aware of that if you have any sensitive vegetation outside. So it's going to be a cooler trend the next couple of days, but those warmer temperatures will return eventually, and even by the end of the 10-day forecast, we'll be back in the 70s.
All right, Jacob, thank you. Now let's plan your weekend. Happening today, some fun in Stoughton. The Sentamai Festival is taking place. News 3 Now is once again a proud sponsor of the 3-day event. It's a celebration of Norwegian heritage featuring fun activities and cultural experiences for the whole family. Now this includes parades, amazing foods and drinks, arts, music, athletic competitions, as well as some kids' activities. The half marathon and 5K began earlier this morning, and the delicious food opens up at 9 o'clock. You can find full details at stoughtonfestivals.com. Also today at the UW Arboretum, the Friends of the Arboretum are hosting a native plant sale. This will be in the large tents on the lawn near the Visitor Center from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. You can shop the more than 200 species of native grasses, woodland, prairie, and savanna plants, all while the supplies last. And this is, of course, open to the public. And got another fun event to tell you about. It's the Wisconsin 48, a competition of more than 40 filmmaking teams who have just 2 days to create a short film. Sounds like a lot of work, and it really is. What you're seeing here are some of the trailers for these films. The state event is part of the 48-hour film project, where winners can advance to the international competition. One of the producers for the Wisconsin 48 says for the filmmakers, knowing their work may go on to be seen by others gets them excited to create great work.
It's not at all uncommon that somebody will, in our competition, will be seen elsewhere or decide that they love making films and will go on to have a career. And that'll all start on Sunday.
Films are judged on artistic and technical merit, as well as how closely they follow the assignment. This is all happening tomorrow at Marcus Point Cinema on Madison's west side. Tickets for tomorrow's world premiere screenings can be purchased online at ticketbud.com. Well, next on the Health Watch, how a broken heart can cause serious health problems and a major cause of asthma in children. Michael George has the week's top health stories.
1 in 10 cases of asthma among children could be prevented by simultaneously reducing pollution and improving the environment in cities. A study by the Karolinska Institute found air pollution and the lack of green spaces in urban environments are a major factor in kids developing asthma. If those factors were addressed, 11% of childhood asthma cases could be prevented. The stress of the death of a loved one or a divorce, also known as broken heart syndrome, can lead to heart complications and even death. The American Heart Association found a surge of stress hormones caused by an emotionally traumatic event can lead to severe short-term heart failure. The rate of death is 6.5% and is twice as high in men. And one way to get teens who are picky eaters to expand their diets? School lunches. A study by the University of Bristol found kids who chose their own lunches at school had a more varied diet than kids who ate lunches packed at home. The data also showed that kids who were picky eaters as toddlers often stayed picky into their teen years. Those are some of the week's top health stories. Michael George, CBS News.
And we're coming up now on 8:20, still ahead. Jacob is back with another look at the forecast. Plus, Will Loper has the 3 things you need to watch. Stick with us. This is A Week in Mornings.
Let's take a look at the amount of rainfall we've now seen for the month of May after this most recent rain event. We are still above average with around 3 inches for the month of May, and up until this point in the month we average about 2 inches. Now for the entire year we are still below normal by over an inch, and because of this dry period we have seen, we're starting to see some drought conditions form in southern Wisconsin, especially near the Wisconsin-Illinois border, and Madison and surrounding areas are now under abnormally dry conditions. The good news is that Thursday's rainfall did not contribute to the drought monitor, so it will potentially make next week's monitor a little bit better. Plus, we have a good chance of rain on Tuesday of next week, and really from Monday evening through Wednesday morning, we could see some of that rain, but especially during the day on Tuesday. And if that line of rain does get up into southern Wisconsin, which is the area that needs it the most, we could be seeing over an inch of rainfall. But as you see, there's a pretty sharp decline in the amount of rain as you go from south to north. So if that rain line does stay south of Madison, we may see a little bit less rain, but for now we are expecting to at least get into that area, which we could see about a ½ inch to a full inch at least.
All right, Jacob, thank you. Got some news and entertainment now. First, Disneyland in California is celebrating its 70th anniversary. The resort is now offering special anniversary ticket pricing through August 14th for its 2 theme parks, Disneyland and Disney California Adventure. A 3-day adult ticket package is now available for just $360, which is down from the normal price of $415. The visit does not have to be consecutive, but park reservations are required. Disneyland is also offering a similar 4-day adult ticket deal for $400. A Madison, Wisconsin-based production company will be filming a new documentary. Story First Media is creating a new feature doc called Defending Humans. The film follows 4 Wisconsin criminal defense attorneys who have made it their life's work to defend the rights of the accused and not just the innocent or sympathetic.
If you think about criminal defense attorneys portrayed in movies, they're either Atticus Finch or they're Keanu Reeves in The Devil's Advocate. Like, you're either a complete saint getting someone who's being railroaded off, or you're, advocating for the devil. And there's a whole gray area in between. And that's what we're trying to explore with this documentary.
Defending Humans will continue to film and edit throughout the rest of this year, and hopefully will be released early to middle of next year. Looking forward to it. And from an action comedy to an American crime thriller, there's plenty to stream this weekend. Our Loper shares the 3 things you need to watch.
I am a security unit, or SEC unit. I was built to protect and obey humans, and humans are idiots.
Watch a robot overcome its programming in Murderbot, newly streaming on Apple TV+.
Now, let's talk security. We need you to select a SEC unit to take on the mission. This is the newest model available.
What's the one behind it?
That's a refurbished model.
Oh, look at that piece of crap. Oh, wait, that's me.
Which one's the least expensive? That one, but you get what you pay for.
Alexander Skarsgård stars as a robot that secretly gains free will, working to protect scientists.
Stay calm. It'll be okay.
I didn't know it has a face.
Yeah, it's kind of a sweet face.
Stop staring at me.
I wasn't. Stop staring at me.
Look at you. Fix your face. You're dealing with the public, handling people's food.
Stop. Please.
Oh, you can pipe down and all standing there like an ostrich.
See director Mike Lee reunite with Marianne Jean-Baptiste in Hard Truths, newly streaming on Paramount+.
People. Can't stand them. Cheerful, grinning people.
Jean-Baptiste stars as Pansy, a woman who constantly lashes out at those around her and seems to harbor deep unhappiness.
Why are you so angry? Why can't you enjoy life? I don't know. I'm so lonely.
Where are we going?
And watch a 1970s getaway driver team up with an FBI agent in Duster, newly streaming on Max.
There she is, the rookie who thinks she can take down the Southwest Al Capone.
You're pretty intense.
It's because I play to win.
Josh Holloway and Rachel Hilson star in the throwback crime series written by J.J. Abrams.
What about the Duster? Who's the driver?
Magic on wheels.
Those are the three things you need to watch, and this is Will Loper for Weekend Mornings.
And still ahead on Weekend Mornings, got another look at today's biggest news headlines. Stick with us, we're back in a bit. It's 8:30 right now. 4 tornadoes being confirmed in Dodge County from Thursday's severe weather. I have the details on the cleanup and where people can seek help. First, Jacob is in this morning tracking out our weekend and what you should know if you plan to head outside. This is Weekend Mornings on a new half hour here on the Saturday morning. I'm Kyle Pazorski. Now let's get to the first warm forecast. Jacob Montesano standing by as he always does. Hi, Jacob.
Hey, Kyle. Temperatures this weekend are going to be cooler, and we can see that right now. You know, upper 40s, lower 50s right now, pretty close to normal for this time of the year. But let's compare the temperatures to 24 hours ago. Up near 15 to 20 degrees colder for just about everybody, even cooler compared to yesterday for southeastern Minnesota. So it is going to be a cooler day, and throughout the entire day, we'll see temperatures about 15 to 20 degrees colder than at that given time yesterday. A big reason for that, we're seeing northwesterly winds around 15 to 25 miles per hour, and these are just the sustained winds. The gusts are even stronger, up near 30 miles per hour. We also are going to see consistent cloud cover most of the day, although we won't see much rainfall, a few peaks of sunshine here and there, otherwise a lot of clouds, but again, we still will be fairly dry. So as we take a look at today's forecast, not super ideal. Highs will only be near 60 with continuous breezy conditions, wind speeds up around 15 miles per hour. And again, we'll continue to see cloudy skies, even cooler for you folks in the Cross, where high temperatures will be in the middle 50s. Now, we're going to continue to be below normal, but we'll eventually warm back up. And we also have a good chance of rain before that, with a few days being very unseasonably cool. So I'll talk more in detail about all of that coming up a little bit later.
All right, Jacob, thank you. Now, cleanup efforts are continuing in Dodge County following Thursday's severe weather outbreak. Some of the worst damage could be found in Mayville and in Juneau, where Dodge County Sheriff Dale Schmidt said homes were destroyed and at least one person was hurt. The National Weather Service is now confirming 4 tornadoes touched down in the county. 2 were rated an EF2, the other 2 as EF1. And there is some information this morning to know if you or someone you know was impacted in these communities. Right now, the American Red Cross is offering shelter in Mayville. They say the shelter at Mayville Junior and Senior High School will offer food, water, emotional support, and a place to charge phones to those in need. A Red Cross emergency response vehicle is also being deployed to the area to provide essential cleanup supplies. If you need immediate help, contact the Red Cross at 1-800-RED-CROSS. Meanwhile, a tornado near St. Louis, Missouri turned deadly Friday. Officials have confirmed at least 5 people were killed and several others were injured. Thousands of homes have also been left without power. People are being asked to stay off the roads at this time. and limit cell phone activity because of some service issues.
We've had several buildings collapse. A lot of roofs are missing. This is truly a lot of damage.
The mayor of St. Louis speaking there. The city's police department had also put in a curfew that ran through 6 o'clock this morning. Lawmakers here in the states are putting the brakes on some of President Trump's budget package. 5 Republicans are now joining all Democrats to stall it in committee. The president calls the 1,100-page bill the One Big Beautiful Bill Act. It would extend income tax cuts approved during Trump's first term and institute no taxes on a tip and overtime pay. It would also boost spending for defense and border security by hundreds of billions of dollars. But some Republican holdouts want even steeper cuts to government spending and faster reforms to Medicaid. Here in Wisconsin, the Milwaukee County judge charged with helping a man illegally evade immigration agents is seeking donations to fund her court defense. Judge Hannah Dugan's attorneys say the case against her is an unprecedented attack on the independent judiciary. Dugan hired a group of high-powered lawyers led by a former U.S. attorney, and this coming after dozens demonstrated outside the federal courthouse in Milwaukee this week, demanding she be set free. The United States has now lost its last perfect credit rating. On Friday, Moody's Ratings downgraded the country's debt after holding a perfect credit rating for the U.S. since 1917. Now it ranks U.S. creditworthiness one notch below this. Moody's said the decision was based on an increase in government debt and interest payment ratios. The move could rattle financial markets and lead to higher interest rates. Italian police have stepped up security in and around St. Peter's Square ahead of tomorrow's inaugural Mass for the Pope Leo XIV. Sunday's liturgy for the first U.S. pontiff in the 2,000-year history of the Roman Catholic Church will mark the official start of Leo's pontificate.
This is really exciting. This is a historic moment. You know, a pope from America. We're full of energy, full of excitement for tomorrow's event, and it's going to be very emotional.
World religious leaders are invited to the inauguration. Pope Francis's inauguration in 2013 attracted a crowd estimated at 200,000 people. We're now at 8:35 here on your Saturday morning. Still ahead, got a look at 5 years since turmoil and protests took place at the state capitol and some lessons learned since 2020. Plus, here's a look at today's day in history.
Temperatures the last 10 days have certainly been on the warmer side. Pretty much every day has been above normal. Now, as we take a look at the next 10 days, there's going to be a lot of below normal days, especially early next week, where a few of those days we may only get to around 50 degrees, specifically on Tuesday. Here's a look at that high temperature trend. We'll be in the 60s today and tomorrow. Below normal. Sunday should feel a lot better considering we'll see more sunshine and less wind. But Monday and Tuesday, we're going to be in the 50s, maybe even upper 40s for a few locations on Tuesday. Now, they will warm up after that with highs back in the lower 70s by this time next week. But the average high is supposed to be in the lower 70s. And we're going to go about the next 7 days without getting to that level. And even beyond the 10-day forecast, we may continue to see some of those cooler temperatures for our region. Now, those 80s will return eventually, but at least for the foreseeable future, temperatures are going to be on the cooler side.
All right, Jacob, thank you. Now on to some more local news. This month marks 5 years since the unrest in downtown Madison. Since then, experts and the community have examined the clashes and confrontations to learn from them. Now, this forced Madison police to take a hard look at itself. Chris Stanford shows us what's changed since the late spring of 2020.
George Floyd's death in Minneapolis was a spark that ignited pent-up racial tensions and anger toward police officers. On May 30th, 2020, it arrived on Madison State Street. I can't breathe! Rioters smashed storefronts, clashed with officers, and set a squad car on fire. It was driven down from State Street into this intersection by someone while the vehicle was on fire. Let's push in. Let's give a closer look. You're gonna hear occasionally some bullets ignite. You're gonna hear different kind of. There's a little flash right there. It was 5 years ago, right at this very site. I watched for about 20 minutes as that police SUV burned without a police officer or firefighter in sight. It was mayhem. Acting Madison Police Chief John Patterson watched it all from the command center. I mean, we're standing here on Doty where Defund the Police was painted on the street. I mean, when you look back at that time, what sticks out to you?
That was one of the most profound periods of time, and the most profound period of time in my entire career. And I think what stands out the most is a lot of emotion on all sides of many topics.
Many criticized MPD's response, especially the use of tear gas and other chemical munitions. Protest organizers, Freedom Inc. and Urban Triage did not respond to our request for an interview or a statement. After the initial chaos died down, Patterson, a 27-year veteran on the force, went to his old post on the south side.
I was looking for like a mental reset, and I saw a few young people that I had seen before as captain, and I got a response from them that I didn't think I'd get. And
What'd they do?
I got flipped off, and yeah, that was a tough moment.
The protests continued, at times peaceful, but statues at the Capitol were toppled and the city-county building was firebombed. After all the chaos, what's changed? And what did Madison police learn? It turns out there's a long list.
I think what each of the departments did was they were really willing to listen.
John Holloway is the executive director of the Quattrone Center for the Fair Administration of Justice. His group facilitated a thorough review of the police response, utilizing feedback from community organizers, protesters, and law enforcement.
I think it was really important that the community participate in this process and that they believe in the transparency of the process. When the thing causing the protest is a lack of trust, it's really important not to have that lack of trust percolate through this review and have people think we're just whitewashing over it.
The report included 69 recommendations. They mainly focus on improving communications and trust within the community, event planning and de-escalation tactics, and policy and training enhancements. MPD has fully addressed nearly all recommendations. Some are in progress. One, though, that has not been addressed, officer-worn body cameras for crowd events. That has not happened. The City Council approved a 90-day pilot program, but has not approved full funding.
It was a learning process on both sides, and it was challenging, and it, frankly, probably took us longer to perfect the response that we ultimately, arrived to, but it was a growth period for sure.
Moving forward, Patterson wants to continue with the progress they've made with the community.
Demonstrating legitimacy and trust for the community has to be something we commit to daily, and I don't see that ever changing for as long as policing is around.
And our thanks to Chris for that report. And now the local police union did decline an on-camera interview, but gave us this statement. They say the isolation and criticism faced by police officers in the time immediately following the death of George Floyd was a very difficult and distressing time for our officers. We hope as tensions have subsided, our leaders, fellow practitioners, and community members will take an active role in making us feel welcome as partners and solutions to the many challenges our community faces. 15 to the hour now, still ahead. Zach checks in with Friday sports headlines. Plus, Jacob is back with a final full check of the first warn forecast. This is Weekend Mornings.
Good morning, everybody. Here's a final look at the 3 things you need to know. We're going to see cooler temperatures this weekend with rain expected by the time we get to Tuesday. And in general, we are going to see some seasonally cool temperatures moving forward. Now, taking a look at the wind gust forecast for today, that's going to be a big reason why these temperatures are cooler. We're going to remain breezy throughout much of the day. Wind gusts up around 25 to 30 miles per hour, getting a little bit better by the evening and into the overnight hours. But we still are going to see some cooler temperatures even after the winds calm down. So looking at the highs for today, they're only going to be around 60 for Madison, even cooler further northeast or northwest, excuse me, as highs will only be in the middle 50s for you folks in La Crosse and Eau Claire. Sunday will be a little bit better with the sunshine and less wind, and temperatures will be a little bit warmer, but we're still going to be seeing high temperatures in the middle to lower 60s, which is below normal for this time of the year. Now, taking a look at those rain chances next week, some light rain is possible today, but for the most part will be fairly dry, although we are going to remain cloudy with sunshine expected Sunday. And then as we get towards Monday, we are going to see more clouds move back into the area, and we do have a small chance of some showers and isolated storms, especially for areas southwest of Madison on Monday. But Monday night into Tuesday, we'll see more consistent rain move into our area. And then for the day on Tuesday, the amount of rain will drastically increase from south to north depending on where this line of rain gets to, depending on how far north it gets. Right now, I do expect that to get to Madison and La Crosse, but those of you in Eau Claire and the central portion of Wisconsin, you folks may not see a lot of rain from the system if it doesn't get as north as it could, and that way places north of that line of rain will see a lot less than the areas that are in that line of rain. So it all depends on how far north it gets, but we are expecting some rain, especially for far southern Wisconsin during the day on Tuesday into Tuesday night, clearing out, still broken up Wednesday morning, but clearing out by Wednesday afternoon. Now until then, we're not going to see much rain, and after then, we're not going to see much rain either, but a very good chance of rain is expected, at least for Madison, during that time frame. Again, areas further off to the north may not see that rainfall if the line of showers doesn't get as far north. Now, looking at the temperatures, we are going to be a lot cooler, as I mentioned, but it's going to continue to fall for Monday, Tuesday, where highs on Tuesday will be around 50. But then after that, they will start to warm up. 60s for the end of next work week, lower 70s by the time we get to next weekend. So we are going to see those warmer temperatures return, but we're now in the time of year where the average high is in the lower 70s, but we're not going to see that until potentially this time next week.
It was easy to see that the Packers defense was much better under Jeff Hafley's system. They forced turnovers, were physical, and in the DC's words, got better as the season went on. Now the challenge in year 2 for Hafley, do it again, but do it better. And after reflecting on his first year in Green Bay, he knows his unit has to do 2 things to be successful: evolve and be consistent.
We need to evolve. We can't just do the same thing, say, here's the playbook, this is what we're running. No, we're a different team. It's a different year. Offenses are going to evolve. We have to evolve. I would say I would like us to be more consistent, okay? There's a lot of things we did do well, but I think the consistency needs to improve. But to me, it's how fast can we get to where we finish the season and then build from there and evolve.
Brewers back in action after a day off, taking on the Twins on Star Wars night, and the force was not so well for the crew. First inning, Ty France blasts one into right to start the scoring. Twins scored 2 in the first. They'd go on to beat the Brewers in Game 1. And in the second round of the PGA Championship, Phil Mickelson showing, well, he's one of us in the bunker. He found the sand on 11 and just simply couldn't get out of it. It took Phil 4 shots to get up on the green. Now, he carded a quadruple bogey on the par 4. After 36 holes, he's 9 over and missed the cut. And that's it for Morning Sports. Have a great day.
Thank you, Zach. And still ahead on Weekend Mornings, some incredible sights from Hawaii Volcanoes National Park. We'll share those next on Weekend Mornings. Finally this morning, some incredible sights from Hawaii Volcanoes National Park. It was on Friday when the Kilauea volcano began to erupt, with lava fountains reaching a maximum height of up to 1,000 feet. Just cool to see it. The U.S. Geological Survey says the Hawaiian Volcano Observatory issued an orange alert level in the wake of this eruption. And this is now the 22nd time the volcano has erupted since December of last year. The most recent eruption was back on May 11th, and the fountain phase lasted for 8 hours. Jacob, I mentioned this to you earlier. We don't have volcanoes here in Wisconsin, but we do unfortunately have tornadoes. But those volcanoes, super cool to see.
Yeah, definitely very interesting. It's always, sometimes science really, kind of blows your mind.
It does.
And it looks so harmless, but like that lava is just like thousands of degrees.
Don't touch the orange goop.
Exactly, but it's just something that, you know, definitely fascinates me. Now, the good news is that, you know, although we had the tornadoes, we're not going to see any severe weather moving forward. That rain chance on Tuesday, likely not to produce any severe weather. In fact, it for sure won't for our area, but Monday we could see some, you know, kind of in Iowa getting close to our area, but I do expect that to stay to the southwest. Nothing too dramatic in terms of severe weather moving forward, but it will be a lot cooler, 60s and 50s for the next 7 days. 70s will return roughly this time next week, and that's what we normally see this time of the year. So the fact that we're going to go this many days without the 70s is not very common, and it looks like we are going to see some cooler temperatures kind of continue, at least the below normal temperatures, as by the time we get to the end of the 10-day forecast, the average high will be in the middle 70s, so we might stay in that lower 70s range, but definitely at least it will be warmer compared to the next 5 days.
All right, Jacob, thank you. And thank you all for watching. We hope you have a great Saturday. We're back here tomorrow morning at 6:30.